2nd of March 1969, the first flight of the Concorde. The first flight of the Concorde was a major milestone in aviation history. The 2nd of March 1969 was the date the Concorde made its first airborne flight. After extensive testing of this revolutionary aircraft, the Concorde made its first transatlantic crossings on September the 26th, 1973, and it inaugurated the world's first scheduled supersonic passenger service on January the 21st, 1976. The Concorde was designed to fly from Europe to New York in around 3 hours. It had a maximum speed of Mach 2.04, or 1,354 miles per hour, or 2,180 kilometres per hour, at cruise altitude, and could carry up to 100 passengers. The impact of the first flight of the Concorde was significant. It marked the first major cooperative venture of European countries to design and build an aircraft. Many innovations resulted, from electronic flight controls and the first commercial use of carbon brakes to a droop nose section that improved visibility for pilots during takeoff and landing. However, many airlines turned away from it even before its launch due to operating economics. Financial losses led both airlines to cut routes, eventually leaving New York City as their only regular destination. Sadly, after the tragic crash on 25th of July 2000 of Air France Flight 4590 on its way to New York from Paris, the Concorde was gradually withdrawn from service by both its operators, Air France and British Airways. A piece of tyre from a previous flight was flicked into the Concorde wing and punctured the fuel tank as it lifted off the tarmac. All 106 passengers and crew were killed and 4 on the ground. Even though this was the first crash of a Concorde, it sounded its death knell. Third of March 1855, the Eureka Stockade and the Gold Commission Inquiry's report. The Eureka Stockade was a series of events involving gold miners who revolted against the British administration of the colony of Victoria, Australia, during the Victorian Gold Rush. It culminated in the Battle of the Eureka Stockade, which took place on the 3rd of December 1854 at Ballarat, between the rebels and the colonial forces of Australia. The stockade was built by miners from Ballarat, who were disgruntled with how the colonial government had been administering the goldfields. Rebels swore an oath to defend their rights and liberties under the Southern Cross flag at Bakery Hill. At least 22 diggers and 6 soldiers were killed when government troops attacked the lightly guarded stockade early on Sunday, the 3rd of December, 1854. An inquiry was established, and the Gold Commission inquiry examined the events of the rebellion, causes and outcomes.
There you are, what I tell you. We want to know if you intend to use arms against the diggers.
Out of the way. I hold no communication with rebels.
Oh, so that's it now. We're rebels, eh?
I give him his rebels.
Don't be a fool!
Oh, but
I'll have to let it go.
No, you're always doing harm.
Well, we know where we stand now.
Well, if they're going to treat us as rebels, we'll act like rebels.
That's what I say, but you stand by while they take my gun away.
We mustn't be stampeded into doing anything
All
rash.
right, my friend. Let's go and talk to Peter about this. He's got a good aim.
Recommendations were presented in January and March 1855, and these recommendations were profound. The initial cause of the rebellion, the exorbitant mining licenses, were to be abolished and a gold export duty to be applied instead. It also recommended clemency for those charged with treason. This was the start of colonists throughout the British colonies in Australia to start receiving democratic rights. Voting rights were extended to all males and not just those who held property to a certain value. The Eureka Stockade Rebellion is a key event in Australian history that changed Australia forever. It has come to represent popular struggle and has been called the birthplace of Australian democracy. The flag that came to represent their courage and vision now hangs in the Eureka Centre as a monument to their struggle. This mild and local rebellion helped lead the colonies to develop one of the most rigorous democracies in the world. March 10th, 1880, the foundation of the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army was founded in London's East End in 1865 by one-time Methodist Reformed Church minister William Booth and his wife Catherine Booth as the East London Christian Mission. They established mission stations to feed and house the poor and changed the name of the organisation to the Salvation Army in 1878. The Salvation Army movement spread rapidly across the British Isles and within decades was established across the globe in countries such as America and Canada, Australia, France, Switzerland, India, South Africa, Iceland and Germany. The Salvation Army has continued its founders' work, tackling issues and working at the heart of communities to offer practical help. The Salvation Army is an international Christian, religious and charitable movement organised and operated on a military pattern. Its message and lifestyle are based on the Bible's teaching. The emphasis in the Salvation Army is on personal religion and individual regeneration, with a commitment to unceasingly proclaiming the gospel. The Salvation Army was modelled after the military, with its own flag or colours and its own hymns, often with words set to popular and folkloric tunes sung in pubs. Booth gradually established the army on a military pattern, with himself as general for life. It spread quickly over Britain and then expanded internationally. Today, the Salvation Army is best known for its charitable efforts. They have worked to alleviate suffering and help people rebuild their lives. The Salvation Army sees all of life as a sacrament to be lived for God, so baptism and Lord's Supper are not practiced, and worship style can vary significantly from location to location. "15th of March, 44 BCE, the Ides of March." The Ides of March is the 74th day in the Roman calendar, corresponding to March 15. It was marked by several religious observances and was notable in Rome as a deadline for settling debts. The Romans counted back from 3 fixed points of the month: the Nones, the 5th or 7th, 9 days inclusive before the Ides; the Ides, the 13th for most months, but the 15th in March, May, July and October; and the Calends at the beginning of each month. In ancient Rome, every month had an Ides. The Ides of March became notorious as a turning point in Roman history when Julius Caesar was assassinated on that day in 44 BCE. In Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, a soothsayer appears in a crowd as Brutus and Caesar are pushed by people. The soothsayer warns Caesar to beware the Ides of March. The phrase Ides of March is derived from Latin Idus Martiae, which means middle day of March. By 43 BCE, Caesar was by far the most important man in Rome, and he had himself made dictator for life. This aroused the deep hatred of many in the Roman aristocracy. A conspiracy was formed by several leading Roman nobles, whose titular leader was Brutus, someone whom Caesar knew well. Assassinated by about 40 senators, Caesar's death resulted in a long series of civil wars that ended in the death of the Roman Republic and the birth of the Roman Empire. The assassination took place during a meeting of the Senate at the Theatre of Pompey in Rome.
And fall, Caesar.
It was spearheaded by Senators Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus. The consequences were far-reaching, resulting in 2 civil wars and the rise of Mark Antony and Octavian, Caesar's nephew and designated heir. The assassination of Caesar was motivated by a desire to restore the old republican system and restore the influence of the Senate. In essence, the assassination was a spectacular failure. Instead of restoring the republic, the old Roman Republic was destroyed. Octavian defeated Antony after the two had annulled their alliance. His preeminence was confirmed when he was granted the title Augustus. The title of Augustus cemented his hold on power and allowed him to pass on his position to a designated heir. The Senate established the first Roman imperial dynasty. For this, Augustus is regarded as the first Roman emperor and the founder of an imperial system. The assassins of Caesar simply paved the way for the rise of the man who was to quietly dismantle the Republic. Thank you for joining Reminisce with Terry. If you've enjoyed this video, please click on the like, subscribe and I'd love if you would like to leave a comment below. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you on Reminisce with Terry. Goodbye.